fine mechanics. Also wire making, thimble making, light metal in Nuremberg, but also printing press. Nuremberg was a center of media, newspapers and print at around 1500. 500 years ago, in Nuremberg, blooming, prosper time, Nuremberg counted 50,000 inhabitants, the biggest city of the German-speaking world. London counted 60 to 70,000, and Venice about 100,000 and more. So Nuremberg was one of the global players at these times. Today Nuremberg is more a regional town, quite big in size, but the old town is still kept in a ring of a wall, in the old historic city wall. And so when you walk through the town, you have still the impression of a smaller town, even if the city offers museums, operas, and universities. We are coming here to a lot of hotels. Nuremberg is a focus also from exhibitions, like now the organic fair, Biofach, but also toy, for example, and engineering, for example. So this is one important income, but also tourism is rising all the time. Almost 3 million nights are booked in Nuremberg in 1 year. So it's also a center of tourism. For this you see a lot of hotels in this area, like your hotel. And very close here to the city center, we're approaching the railway station of Nuremberg, and the railway station is set right across the old town and the city center of Nuremberg. In front of our bus you can perhaps focus around Fortified Tower. This is one of the gate towers of the old city wall. The fortification is 5 kilometers, 3 miles long, and had only 4 gates. The gates were closed by key every night up till 1850. Then the city started to grow outside the city wall. On the left-hand side, the square of the main railway station, and the main railway station in the back. You see, almost constructed like a palace, a French chateau from 1905. Very damaged also during the war, and reconstructed up till the 70s. Public transportation, you use probably the subway already in Nuremberg, 3 lines of subway, 5 lines of streetcar tram, and over 50 bus lines. It's keeping that traffic more or less quite well in Nuremberg. And good to notice now what I tried to explain: to our right hand side the old town within the walls, to our left hand side new town with offices, building hotels and residential areas. And shortly you will see the Opera House, the dome-shaped roof on our left hand side. Beautiful, nice opera house in Liberty style Art Nouveau inside, dating back to 1900. 800 seats, and there are performances every night, except in August. In August there is holiday in Bavaria and also here in Nuremberg. So no performances in August. Now on our left hand side you see the charming opera house. Yes, 100 years old, 110 years. And on our right hand side we follow the city walls. The city wall is 600 years old. And you see how well fortified the town was. Nuremberg was never conquered up till the Bavarian times. So it was a free and independent city with an own council which governed the city, and an own mayor, which was here the highest governor in town. No prince, no dukes, no counts, no bishops in Nuremberg. Good to follow. If you now watch the stone, this blackish stone is really 600-year-old stone, and in between you see this more pinky stone. These are reconstruction after the war. Also, the city wall was damaged severely during World War II. Next gate, direct destination southwest. So Stuttgart, Black Forest, France and Spain. The city gate on your right hand side. Now on our right. The moat around the wall was always dry. There was no water inside, but even no trees, that no enemy could climb the trees. It was just empty and dry. And some of you perhaps can catch a view shortly to the silhouette, to the skyline of the castle. Everything started at the castle here in Nuernberg, and in front of us you see the small rock, and on top of the rock they started to construct the castle in 1050. Nuernberg means rocky hill, and on the rock and on the hill they started to construct this fortress. Next slide. And now we will enter the first time the city center. And you will notice that the streets are still very narrow. Even after the war they reconstructed following the old map of Nuernberg. These openings for the modern traffic today, over 40 today, they're of course compromises to modernity and traffic. Now have a look to the left hand side. This is one of the craftsman quarter. This was tannery. Look to the beautiful half timbered construction. Leather manufacturer. And now we turn to the right, and on our left hand side you will see the largest half timbered building of Germany, which is called the wine depot, the wine storage. They used to store wine barrels inside, just in case the water would have been polluted or poisoned. They could drink the wine. Dating back to 1440, 600 years old, and today it's a student's home. Nuremberg, the city also of universities. Wine consumption still high, they say. Here to our left hand side, the wine storage. And very picturesque now across the river. Our river is called Pegnitz, which means dirty water, brownish water, muddy water. No navigation possible, no ships and boats. You see the fortification across the river on our right hand side. And on our left hand side you can see a small tower on an island. This is the hangman's house. The executor lives isolated on the island. And at the back you see the steep roofs of town and the steeples of St. Lawrence's. Within the walls it is forbidden to construct flat roofs and skyscrapers. Here the mill quarter, beautiful sandstone houses and half-timbered houses, nice squares, old Nuremberg really to touch the atmosphere. But when 91% were destroyed, of course they keep also a lot of post-war buildings. And if you look now to our right hand side, you see these post-war reconstructions, but the houses of the reconstruction are following the outlines of the former houses. So we still have the dimensions of the Middle Ages in town, even if the architecture is post-war architecture. Perhaps also interesting for you, in your free time, Nuremberg is a center of shopping today. 6 kilometers, 4 miles of pedestrian zone, all brand marks from Louis Vuitton up till H&M you can find in Nuremberg. Main shops are open up till 8 o'clock, so even after the fair. There's a challenge. Yeah? You see some of these here. The whole city center is limited traffic. Traffic is kept outside in the ring streets and by the public transportation outside. So it's nice to do a walk, even without shopping, through the pedestrian zone. On our left-hand side, shortly, you will see a tower 700 years old. Now to our left, 700 years old. It used to be the first gate tower, the first gate, you see here, the old gate. But then the city went to be too small. They prolonged outside, and now look to the right-hand side. You see the round tower. This was the gate 1400. So this is 700 years old. The other tower is 600 years old. Also nice here the churches, St. James's Church, and even St. Elizabeth's Church. All streets on our left are closed for traffic. It's only walking possible in the parallel streets to us on our left. Nuremberg, of course, is also a city of culture and museums. Perhaps you heard about the Toy Museum, or the oldest steam engine of Nuremberg kept in the Museum of Public Transport here in Nuremberg. Then we have the Dürer's house, where the painter of Nuremberg lived 500 years ago. The castle is museum. The documentation center is museum. We have the old courtroom kept where the trials were held after the war here in Nuremberg, a little bit outside. So a lot of museums also to visit. But the most famous art museum and the largest museum in Nuremberg is the German National Museum. Dürer paintings, Cranach, Rembrandt, Riemann, Schneider, the first existing globe, furniture, fashion, free and proto history. All this is kept in this huge museum, and to the museum is leading the way of human rights. Because Nuremberg today knows about the responsibility after the dictatorship, after being in the focus of the matrix and the brainwashing. And so today it's also a city of human rights, with awards given to people working for human rights, and an art piece with 30 columns with the 30 articles of the United Nations, which we will see now on our right-hand side. 30 columns, 30 articles, and is made from an Israel artist, Danny Caravan. So a symbol of peace, democracy, and human rights on our right-hand side. Then the beautiful museum in older and newer parts on our right-hand side, the archives and libraries. And the museum was founded in an old chartreuse in a cloister, so there's a church also inside to visit, 700 years old, so also here, more to see. On our left-hand side, we approach another huge building. This used to be the toll house. Inside this huge building with the brick, you see, this was the public weight station. Everybody who came to Nuremberg as trader had to pay toll and taxes to the Council of Nuremberg. And after paying, they were allowed to present their trading goods for 3 days and to sell. So this was not only the tax station, it was also a big department store. In our left-hand side, you can see now the arches where the carriages and horses went in, and the public weight station was, and above you can see the offices and shops. In Nuremberg 500 years ago, you could buy everything of the world: pure amber from the Baltic Sea and Siberia, cloth from England, spices from Oriental countries, silk, Indian carpet, China, so everything really to buy in this big department store. Look now to the left, you can see the pedestrian zone and the beautiful steeples of St. Lawrence's, 650 years old. following the street and the roundabout, have a look to the left. There you can perhaps have a view to the choir of St. Lawrence's. So the east side of the church, the east wing. Now left. And now you're noticing we are following the street a little bit downhill. There's this small valley of the river Pegnitz. Pegnitz is very important for Nuremberg, not because of navigation. It was the only canal for polluted and dirty water, and it was also here the energy supply for wire making, for example, paper mills here in Nuremberg. So here they used the mechanic power for engineering techniques already 500 years ago. Crossing the river again, you see a lot of bridges. So when you walk through town, you don't even notice the river because it's connected north and south by a lot of bridges. On the left-hand side, a senior citizens' home, founded in 1350, so 650 years of tradition of senior citizens living here on the left-hand side. It is called the Hospice of Holy Ghost, Heilig Geist Spital. It was not a hospital really, it was for retirement people coming here. Over 200 beds and apartments they used to have. Today still 50 apartments inside. And again the narrow street and the pedestrian zone of Nuremberg. We are now in the area of the main market square, where we will end our tour also. And on our left hand side you will see the choir of the Church of Our Lady, which is the main church at the main market square. And if you look through the streets here along the houses, you can see parts of the market square. And at the following street, even the steeple of the beautiful fountain. So here we will end our tour, here at the Gold Pyramid. And now we're going by bus uphill in direction of the castle of Nuremberg. At the castle we will separate in two groups. My colleague is waiting there, and so we do two equal groups, and then we do a walk of about 1 hour across the terrace of the castle down to the beautiful fountain. This castle district is so narrow that a bus can't park, so the only possibility to discover is really to walk. So prepare, in about 2 minutes we will be at the parking. Grab all your clothes you have, your gloves, your hats, your caps, because it's quite cold and chilly still outside. We're still waiting for spring. So on the right hand side there is already some buildings of the castle to see, towers and the east wing. Keep an eye a little bit to the bike lanes. It is not really a cycling season, but every now and then they pass. And cyclists have priority in Germany if they're on their bike lane. So keep an eye to the bike lane. And perhaps to make it a little bit simple, people sitting behind the driver are going with my colleague in the blue coat here, and people sitting behind me are coming with me. So we have two equal groups, more or less. Yeah?
Don't leave anything in the bus.
Take everything you have.
Please take all your belongings with you.
Don't forget anything.
Danke.
So we separate and split into groups.
The tour will end at the city center, but your guide will tell you how you can go directly afterwards to the hotel. It's walking distance, or you go to the main station and take the number 5, or there's also a bus going directly to the hotel. And shops are open till
8. Main shops are open till 8.
And for those who will not see, maybe tomorrow, same procedure, 8:30 at the lobby.
Noch einmal, wie heißt die Station bei der Hotel?
Durenhof. Durenhof.
Also danke schön.
No, I will give you a cup. Okay.
Ja.
Super.
Nicer.
Yeah.
Okay, good to see here the east wing of the Castle of Nuernberg. Schick mir gerne noch 2 oder 3. I'm sorry you can't go with Anke.
No, we have no choice.
But we always have the same, almost the same name, so you go with Anke. She's Anka, I'm Anke. So, you see the prison tower of Nuernberg, dating back 700 years, but this tower was totally destroyed after the war, and it is reconstructed. Then, this castle of Nuernberg was not a residence. The emperor didn't live here. He came for visits every now and then, yeah, for political session. And then he left Nuremberg again. And of course he had 400 horses in the 1800s. And what you see, this huge building was the